2012, it was a year of drug busts, tragic deaths, politics, vehicular accidents, and devastation by floodwaters, where the Layou area took high priority for a plan to secure the area from flooding. Drug busts dominated most of the news in 2012, where one of the largest seizures was $2.5 million in cocaine.
Citizens and education officials were all worried about the increase in violence and deviant behavior in schools and in health. Officials continued their push for HIV and AIDS education programs. Later in the year, the media's attention shifted to the arts and entertainment with the World Creole Music Festival in tribute to the late Jeff Joseph and Independence Celebration. What a busy year.
I am Desmond Joseph.
And I am Larry Larrock. Join us as we present 2012, the year in review.
On January 1st, a woman from the village of St. Joseph became the proud mother of baby Nelson, the firstborn for the year 2012.
My name is Candice Nelson from the village of St. Joseph. I'm the mother of Savio Nelson, and he was the first baby for 2012. It's a great joy.
He was born at 2 a.m. via C-section and weighed 3.5 kilograms. Something new for Dominica came about on January 12, as 7 young men were presented to the public for the first ever Mr. Dominica pageant. Mentor Miss Antoinette Mora said the group saw the need to expand the carnival activities to embrace the young men of Dominica as they were previously left out of pageantry.
We have also come together not just to enhance Dominica's carnival offerings, but to make a difference in the lives of the young men, one at a time. To play our part in encouraging, lifting, and building them.
The competition ranks were inclusive of outstanding wear, talent, formal wear, beach wear, and interview segments. On the 20th of January, there was also the implementation of a new child health record for children below the age of 5 years. It is expected to provide a single international standard that represents the best description of physiological growth for all children from birth to 5 years of age. The child health record will provide relevant information to parents on guidelines for feeding their children, the immunization schedule, dental history, and early stimulation activities to enhance the physical and mental development of their child. On the 23rd of January, health professionals from the pediatric ward and neonatal unit of the Princess Margaret Hospital were awarded for their efforts in helping 6-month-old Jedediah Charles, who was born with 2 holes in his heart. A loan of $20,000 was taken for the surgery, which was just a fraction of the cost. Dr. Lambert, Dr. David, and ward nurse Sister Philip were all awarded with a small check from the Dominica Social Justice and Peace Committee. A donation was also made to parents of baby Jedediah. On the 2nd of February, the new Dominica-China Friendship Bridge, constructed between the riverbank of the Roseau Market and Pottersville, was officially opened. Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit said that this bridge would provide Dominica with development as a nation and will aid by increasing ease of access to and from the city, avoiding congestion and heightening the speed of communication. The bridge spans 67 meters and 10.5 meters in width and can be used both for an entrance and exit to and from the city. The West Coast Road was also named the Edward Oliver Libla Highway, as he was responsible for the construction of the West Coast Road. On February 11th, the public library started to promote reading from different angles in young children as it began a new reading club. Instead of just encouraging the children to read, they led by example, inviting adults and prominent community figures to read to them.
I've always been telling the children, to read a lot. but how often do we, the adults, read? So we wanted to, for example, we ask the teens to come in, and in that way, well, they might motivate the children to read more.
This activity was geared towards developing an interest in reading in the young children and to engage the parents and adults in nurturing this interest. The Reading Club meets on the second Saturday of each month. On February 13th, Tamayo Joachim was named Miss Plus Size and Elegant 2012 as she swept up the titles of Best Swimwear, Best in Creative Wear, Best in Evening Wear, and Miss Intelligent. First runner-up was Corinthia Felix, whose cancer advocacy costume won Best Creative Wear. Second runner-up went to Mary Raffol, who was awarded Miss Amity and won Best Talent with her monologue addressing the issue of discrimination against plus-sized women. In politics, a newly amended Social Security Act was passed by Parliament on February 22nd that will gradually increase the pensionable age to 65 by 2012. This amendment came into action in March, and the age by which persons receive their pensions from the Dominican Social Security will increase by 6 months annually over the next 10 years. This increase will be a gradual one with an overall increase of 5% over a period of 20 years from the current 4%. Social Security officials said the method is a fair one that will prevent an abrupt, sharp increase. On Friday, March 9, 4 young men from Portsmouth allegedly carried out the armed robbery of the Marigot Credit Union. Mitchell Joseph, Jamie Andrew, Princeton George, and Mitchell Azil were slapped with 6 indictable charges for the alleged robbery. The 4 men were alleged to have robbed the credit union of US $1,174, 260 euros, EC $32,921, totaling EC $36,851.55. On Saturday, March 11th, Mr. Dion Hakim Alfred of Stock Farm was reported missing in an alleged abduction case. He was last seen wearing a black hooded long-sleeve shirt and a pair of short blue jeans. Also missing is 28-year-old Mr. Leon Dopey Joseph of Stock Farm. He is 5 foot 5 inches and is fair in complexion. He has black hair, bushy eyebrows, and a round chin. He was last seen wearing a black short pant with white and brown horizontal and vertical lines, a black windbreaker coat, and a pair of black and white Nike slippers. Any information relating to the whereabouts of Dion Hakim Alfred and Leon Joseph should be relayed to the Criminal Investigations Department or the nearest police station. In the same week, on Saturday, March 17th, the Kalinago territory was struck with grief as father of 5 Nixon Julian Francis lay dead in his yard in Gullet River after an altercation with his girlfriend turned violent, resulting in him receiving a fatal stab wound. Francis Frederick of Gullet River, Kalinago territory, who was charged with the murder which was later reduced to manslaughter. She was remanded at the Stock Farm prison and was granted bail in the amount of $100,000 while she awaits trial. Later in the month of March, it was a real awkward situation for 2 American tourists on Wednesday the 21st who were allegedly seen engaging in the act of buggery outside of their room's balcony on a cruise ship which was docked on the Roseau cruise ship berth. 53-year-old Dennis Mayer and 41-year-old John Hart were charged with indecent exposure when they faced Roseau Magistrate Evelina Baptist at the Roseau Magistrates Court on Thursday, March 22nd. The defendants were fined $1,200 each, which was paid forthwith. Justice was certainly served on Wednesday, March 28th, as Kenrick Tyson, who was convicted of murder, was sentenced to life imprisonment by Judge Bernie Stevenson Brooks at the Roseau High Court of Justice when Mr. Tyson was found guilty of murdering Cecil James of Concord. During the trial, eyewitness accounts indicated that Mr. Tyson killed Mr. James by hitting him on the head with a piece of wood while the victim slept at his residence in Concord between May 9th to 10th, 2009. He then stole Mr. James' wallet, grocery items, and his vehicle. 2 men died following a fatal vehicular accident in the community of Mao in the early hours of the morning on Saturday, March 31st. The incident occurred at about 3 a.m. in the vicinity of Cram's Restaurant and Bar and the Mao bus stop. The young man was crossing the road when a motorcycle being ridden at a high rate of speed did not have sufficient time to stop, resulting in 2 deaths.
This is why we are appealing to motorists generally, and in particular motorcycle riders, to be conscious of the fact that speed reduces the ability to respond or react.
In April, Chief of Police Cyril Carrette confirmed that an officer was arrested for the alleged theft of a Government of Dominica-owned firearm and not for allegedly selling an illegal firearm as was previously rumored. The officer appeared before a Roseau magistrate on April 10th on a charge of stealing a firearm, a Glock 19 pistol, and 15 rounds of ammunition valued at over $3,000. Former police officer Osel Tyson was arrested by members of the Criminal Investigations Department over the Easter weekend, pleaded not guilty to the charge and was asked to surrender all his travel documents and to report on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at the Roseau Police Station for his probation. On Friday, 13th April, the Dominica Police Force recorded its biggest drug bust for 2012. 1,245 pounds of marijuana was found and seized following a sting operation in an abandoned area in the heights of Calibishi. The K9 unit from the Customs Department and the police mounted the operation and found the cured marijuana in 27 nylon bags with an estimated street value of $1 million. In other police-related news, on April 26, a number of cricket fans at the Windsor Park Stadium were on hand to witness what they described as police excessive use of force. Reports from an eyewitness at the scene said that a gentleman seemed to have been sitting in the wrong area of the stands and refused to relocate. In the process of being escorted out, a patron at the stadium who witnessed the incident was disagreeing with the police as to why they were taking the patron out of the stand for something so simple. While both patrons were being escorted out of the venue, another man who may have known one of the patrons was in disagreement with what was taking place and was then confronted by a police officer. In front of everyone present, the officer used his baton to inflict a blow to the young man's head and then used his knee to inflict another blow to the young man's abdomen. 22-year-old Brian Morilaw, Roy Massicott, and Gregory Massicott of Vekas claimed that police officer Pelham John Baptist assaulted and battered them and indicated they would seek legal action. The matter is pending. Things became interesting on May 2nd when workers from the Pocasset to Melvin Hall Road project went on strike due to not receiving any wages for over 4 months. Treasurer of the Truckers Association, Mr. Arthur Shillingford, stated that the situation was beyond difficult and frustrated, seeing that the workers did not have enough money to sustain their families. This was Mr. Shillingford giving his views on the strike.
Members has been written from the banks that is owing for their house and also owing for the equipment. And we had a meeting about 4+ months ago together with the representative of the government, together with the Minister of Public Works, to make sure that GADA can pay us our money. We have not bear any fruit from that since.
In the month of May, 19-year-old Miss Nadira Lando captured the title of Miss Caribbean World 2012. Miss Lando copped the awards for the Best Costume, Best Swimwear, and Miss Photogenic. The pageant took place at the Multipurpose Sports Complex in Totola. There were a total of 17 contestants from across the Caribbean competing in the pageant, and this was the first regional crown won by Miss Lando since she was crowned Miss Dominica during the carnival season. As we move deeper into the month, there was an accident in Foncolé on Friday, May 11, 2012. The rider of a Yamaha scooter was traveling behind a Mitsubishi van in a northerly direction. The rider of the scooter made a huge mistake when he attempted to overtake the van in a corner near Maximum Building Supplies. The scooter made contact with the van and an oncoming government-owned Suzuki, which resulted in a three-vehicle accident, leaving the scooter rider hospitalized. On that same day, one young man and his car was involved in an accident in Newtown, resulting in a head-on collision with a Toyota Hi-Ace bus, registration number HB347, on Saturday, May 13th, leaving the bus extensively damaged while the car suffered minor damage. The driver stated that the bus tried to avoid the collision, which caused him to run off the road and collided with a tree but was still hit by the car. The bus was traveling to Point Michel while the car was just pulling out from the garage in the area. The owners and employees of the Muslim store were shocked on May 15, 2012, when they arrived to a burglarized workplace. It was apparent that the thieves used a tool to cut open the padlocks, which secured the shutter over the door, and then used another tool to pry the door open. A number of items such as car stereos, a 23-inch flat-screen TV, a PlayStation 3, an Xbox 360, 2 Nintendo Wiis, 4 laptops, cell phones, and a large quantity of gold jewelry was stolen. An employee at the store, Miss Karen Nicholas, also noted that it was the first time in 2 years that they have ever been robbed. On May 18, 2012, a number of persons from the communities of Gallia, Soufriere, and Scots Head were stranded due to a protest by the Soufriere bus drivers. This protest made it impossible for individuals to go to work and school. Public Relations Officer for the Soufriere Scots Head bus service, Mr. Fitzjohn Lewis, said all of the bus drivers that operated in the area were on strike because they were fed up of the dangerous conditions of the roads. Parliamentary representative for the Soufriere constituency, Honorable Sam Martin, stated that the work to be done on the road was not major, so it should have only taken 2 days to have the roads patched up. The following day, repair work of the roads began. As we moved to the month of June, things became gloomy as the death toll rose. On the 4th, a shooting incident occurred at the Crazy Coconuts Entertainment Complex, leaving Wayne Maxwell, also known as Harders, of Bafisset dead. The incident also left Danny Joseph of River Street with stab wounds which he received during the incident. 40-year-old Joey Casimir of Vekas, who resided at Canefield, also lost his life when he fell off a dump truck registration number TC015 driven by Kurt Prentice of Canefield whilst on its way to construction site at Cochrane.
In July, things continued to go downhill as one middle-aged woman was rushed to the Princess Margaret Hospital on Monday the 16th following a vehicular accident. The woman, whose identity was unknown, suffered multiple injuries as she bled from her head when allegedly one of her tires blew out, causing her to lose control of her Mitsubishi Pajero Jeep and collided into the sea defense wall on the Pottersville Highway. Moving along, the House of Assembly approved the budget for the financial year ending June 30, 2013 to the sum of $437,628,108. The Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit said this budget was designed to bring hope to his fellow Dominicans since they have been going through economic instability. Major emphasis was placed on agriculture and tourism. The man found guilty of killing Barbadian national Corey Polion was sentenced to life in prison on Friday, July 20, 2012. Sherman Webb turned and smiled to reporters in court when he heard the sentence. Webb was arrested after confessing to 3 police officers that he had buried a friend in the heights of Emsall. He led them to the burial place. On exiting the courtroom, a smiling Webb turned and said to the media personnel, "See you guys in appeals court." Towards the end of July, Shani Angol, a student from the Pierre Charles Secondary School, broke her record in the 14th biannual Caribbean Union of Teachers Athletics competition. The games took place in Jamaica with 14 participating countries. Miss Angol received the first gold medal while breaking the javelin record of 34.43 meters with her throw of 38.35 meters. On the 9th of August, police confirmed that 11,744 cannabis trees were uprooted and destroyed when members of the drug squad conducted an operation in the heights of Cahoon. 100,000 grams of cocaine was seized during a joint operation between the Coast Guard, Customs and members of the drug squad, while that same day, about 10:30 p.m., when personnel of the Marine Unit intercepted one open keelboat named Just in Time, several nautical miles west of Roseau. Jones Jeff Seja of Portsmouth and Clevo Gabriel of Highland Granby were charged with possession of cocaine with intent to supply, importation of cocaine, and conspiracy to import cocaine. Mr. Gabriel was also charged with failing to stop the boat when ordered to. Both defendants were bailed in the sum of EC $1 million. The cocaine was worth $2.6 million. Samuel Ali, better known as Blah, was killed on August 11th after a vehicular accident on Goodwill Public Road at about 6 a.m. that day. Mr. Ali sustained multiple injuries to his body and was transported to the Accident and Emergency Department by the Fire and Ambulance Services. He was pronounced dead upon arrival by a medical practitioner. Friday, August the 24th, was a sad day for one family as 38-year-old Falcon Wallace was stabbed to death during an altercation with another man from Dam Marigot. The incident occurred at about midnight when Mr. Falcon sustained a stab wound to his lower abdomen by 42-year-old Rudy Jr. Jones of Marigot, who was later charged for the death. In other news, 2 persons were rushed to the Princess Margaret Hospital by accident and emergency personnel on the afternoon of Saturday, August 25th, following a vehicular accident in front of Al Motors dealership in Caneville. A Lexus RX 300 SUV, registration number PM784, traveling out of town, lost control and collided with a Toyota Hiace passenger bus, registration number HE052, which was traveling in the opposite direction. Many villagers across Dominica were busy on Sunday, August 12th in a cleanup process as their homes and or villages were affected as a result of the passage of Tropical Depression 7. One of the hardest hit villages was Layu, as the road leading to the Layu Valley was completely cut off when the Layu River's water's untamed force proved too much to the fragile road, which was washed away. Minister of Public Works, Energy and Ports, Honorable Raymond Blackmore, reported a number of villages experiencing landslide and thanked the operators of heavy machines for responding quickly to clear the roads. All damaged infrastructure have been reconstructed, however the link road between Layu to Poncasé is still closed from traffic. One Stock Farm family can say that God was looking over them as they narrowly escaped death when their house flipped over following heavy rainfall on the morning of Tuesday, August the 21st. Owner of the home, Mr. Jerry Joseph, said that when he woke up at 7:30 a.m., he washed his clothes and then upon returning to the house, he felt the home moving.
I never expected that. I know the house is a house with a really shaken thing, but I know I didn't go and check to see what the water do below it, because when I wake up this morning, I noticed a heavy water coming from the road and running right through the yard. So apparently it must have undermined the back pillar. I went under there to open my clothes, but I didn't check the last pillar, so apparently it must have undermined the last pillar down there, so that's as a result, the house went down.
On Monday, September 17, His Excellency Eliud Thaddeus Williams took the oath of the office of the President of the Commonwealth of Dominica. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit congratulated Mr. Williams on his new position.
One former Caribbean leader once called on his citizens to develop a positive mirror image of themselves. He called on them to choose carefully the type of people they emulated as role models for society. I wish to suggest this evening that were we to look around Dominica today, there are no greater manifestations of excellence than are to be found in the lives of our outgoing and incoming presidents.
His Excellency Eliud Williams gave some remarks at the ceremony.
Fellow Dominicans, today I make a commitment to safeguard the laws and governance system of our country. And I ask for your commitment. I ask for a commitment from you as well to continue to build upon the work we have done. That is, work with our communities. Work, I ask you to, with your representatives in Parliament, so that we can build a better Dominica. As we continue on our path of development, we will have the opportunity to make many choices. But never let us forget that with each of these opportunities come responsibilities. Responsibilities to ourselves and to each other.
He encouraged all Dominicans to look within themselves to embark on their own journey of service to their country and those who are already on their way to continue their good work for the nation. On Wednesday, September 19th, during the 28th Pan American Sanitary Conference, Dominican native Dr. Carissa Etienne was elected the new director of the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO. According to the acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of Health, Mrs. Helen Royer, Dr. Etienne is well deserving of the position.
We were very convinced in the Ministry of Health that Dr. Etienne would have won, and that is based on the way that she was being sold out. There was much work done between the Ministry of Health and Foreign Affairs, the government, and I think we went a long way to ensure that she was sold very well. And we are very grateful for the commitment from our CARICOM country.
Dr. Etienne holds degrees in medicine and surgery from the University of the West Indies, among other diplomas. Mrs. Royer is looking forward to seeing Dr. Etienne sit as the new director.
When you remain focused like Dr. Etienne, she moved from one position to another, and the humility that she has, that is what really touches me. She is very down to earth. If you meet Dr. Etienne, you may not know who she is, but she reaches down, and what I'm really looking forward for, I know one of the ideals for her is that of equity in health. She is the person who actually initiated under her direct leadership in Dominica universal coverage, ensuring equity of services, that persons that need health can access health services.
Dr. Etienne is set to begin her 5-year term on February 1st, 2013. On the 21st of September 2012, the top 3 students in the GCE A-level exams were revealed. The Island Scholar for 2012, Ms. Dinian John, said she was delighted as she worked very hard for this achievement.
I would like to thank, as the Minister said, the members of the A-Level Support Program, especially Mr. Wilson, and the pioneers and parents who began it. I'm a little overwhelmed right now, very glad indeed, and what can I say truly? Congratulations to all the young people who did well in this year, and may there be even more good results. And I would like to also thank the Dominica State College.
Ms. John earned herself a full scholarship to any university in the world, which is funded by the government of Dominica. The other top performers included Dennis Guy and Tishina Lloyd. On September 25th, the Million Hour Tree Planting Project was launched as a new approach towards environmental preservation in Dominica. Dominicans are expected to invest at least 2 hours in their communities and immediate surroundings to enhance the environment through the creation of green spaces and the planting of trees. Ms. Rhoda John, director of the Generation of Opportunity, said we need to clean and beautify our country to keep with our image of the nation island of the Caribbean.
3 years on, and there has not been anything serious response to this urgent call, which is more than just cleaning and beautifying our country, but it holds greatest prospects of engaging Dominicans in national environment preservation program, which will ensure that the future generations will continue to enjoy the pristine environment that we call and hold so dearly Dominica.
Continuing with the project, the Grand Bay community cleared debris, plastic bags and grass off the boulevard so that trees could be planted. The project is mainly supported by the Global Environmental Fund, GEF, who has been providing planting material to all participating communities for establishment along the main roads and highways as well as open spaces.
During an operation conducted by the Drug Squad on Wednesday, October 3rd in Lubia, the driver of vehicle registration number TJ330 attempted to evade the police. In doing so, the vehicle he was driving struck pedestrian Carl John Baptist Peter of Point Michel, who resided at Virgin Lane, police vehicle registration number GA362, and then a utility pole. The 2 male occupants of the vehicle, who were also injured, were arrested on suspicion of possession of firearm and ammunition. On October 4th, Bishop Gabriel Mazel launched his new book entitled A Decade of Grace. The bishop also celebrated his 10th anniversary of service as well as his 55th birthday and stated that it was from this the idea originated. He made mention that the book is a compilation of all his homilies preached over the last 10 years as well as important messages which addresses many aspects of people's lives.
The big book itself, as I said, it is. I would regard it as very substantial in terms of the varied topics that I raise, that I talk about. I mean, it spans over the entire what you call the liturgical, the year of the church. So you have things of Christmas, New Year's, and the Chrism masses, ordinations, and homilies on various. Of course, each homily takes a different topic, and therefore it elaborates on the message that I'm trying to communicate in the spiritual sense. So I think it would be quite nourishing for the average Catholic, and also for non-Catholics as well, who would like to, or anybody who would like to read it. It's really a good text, I would say.
On October 22nd, 2012, Webster Murray won the first ever NCCU Calypso competition. Mr. Murray really blew the crowd away with his song titled Tutuni. The young man, who became $15,000 richer, was extremely confident, and he said the money would be used for studio time. He also added that the next step for him is capturing the title Calypso King.
It was not a surprise to me, you know. I know I had a surprise for them. So after I delivered my song, I felt really confident. I know I did a great presentation, a great job. I had good diction. The song was well written. It was well composed. It was a great story to tell. So I had confidence that I would win tonight.
And it still seems to be alive.
It is alive, and we have to keep it like that. And I vow to keep it alive too, myself.
In your previous interview, you said that you were going to bring it tonight. How are you so certain that you were going to deliver tonight?
It's just a confidence level. I just know it's a good, lyrically strong song. And I just know I have to come here and deliver the song and just win it. Well, it's a crown.
People from all walks of life joined in the Creole Day Street Parade on Friday, October 26. 4 schools participated this year, including the St. Luke's Primary, St. Martin's Primary, and the Convent Preparatory School.
It is beautiful. That's culture at its best. We must hold on to it. We must gravitate to that kind of culture.
On October 26, the World Creole Music Festival was truly a night to remember, as it was dedicated to the memory of the late Cadas legend Jeff Joseph. The night featured a number of artists from various genres of music such as Thierry Matley, Essa Bantan, Zouk All-Stars, and Stefan Raver. Haitian musician Disip Gazman, who came on stage with a t-shirt in tribute to Jeff Joe, in addition to singing some of his songs, stated that Jeff Joe is his icon, which he gained a lot of inspiration from throughout his musical career.
Big time, because when you talk about songs like Sukuyan, Mideba, 1, 2, 3, Everybody Must Go to Heaven, and I mean, this guy, also he done so much collaboration. You're talking about with When I Say Yes, You Say No. Those are hit songs, and also music like he has so much music. The last time I watched him in a collaboration with a group, a song named Oops. That's no joke. And also he has a song that's called Nobody. Those are hit songs, so I admire him.
On night 2, Taurus Riley and Damian Jr. Gong Mali kept the Windsor Park Sports Stadium blazed on nights 2 and 3 of the 16th edition of the World Creole Music Festival. The crowd embraced the first-time artists as they owned the stage with songs including She's Royal, Superman, and Affairs of the Heart. Other performers on that night were living local legends Michael Henderson and Ophelia Marie. This year has been a very special one for the 2 leading ladies because it was the first night they performed together.
We've performed on the same stage outside of the island, but this time it's the first time the Dominican public got to see us do something together. So that makes it quite different, and I know the repertoire was a little more spicy than normal, I'd say.
I would think so, definitely. Yeah. And the musicians were excellent, because we've had our rough times, but it didn't show on stage, except maybe through me, but Michael, you rescued me once or twice, so thanks for that. It was good, we enjoyed it.
As the night grew old on Sunday, the stadium crowd grew for Damian Jr. Gong Mali as his debut performance swept the crowd off their feet. Visiting Dominica for the very first time, Mali was happy to be a part of Dominica's World Creole Music Festival. November was Early Childhood Education Month, and on the 1st, the Ministry of Education planned a number of activities including walks, career day, and trips. Ms. Vida George, Assistant Education Officer with the Early Childhood Education Division at the Ministry, said the early years of someone's life is the foundation for the entire future.
First of all, I must say it was celebrated in June and has been changed to November. There are many reasons why we changed from June to November. First of all, whatever happened in June, after the activities, there was nothing really following because school closed in June. But we saw it fit to bring it sometime earlier in the year.
Other activities for the month including a family-focused week while schools added their own activities to the national list. Parents were encouraged to be part of the activities to set an example for the youngsters. Dominicans turned out on November 5th to beautify their communities as part of Community Day of Service. A section of the road in Fonkole was in a deplorable state, and City Councillor Ms. Lucibel Matthew was determined to get it repaired.
Mr. Gittens from CCD contacted me, and he was the one who initiated it and said that he wanted to give back to the community, seeing that so many of the employees actually came from this area. And the PAREP came on board and brought in the machinery to do the grading. Carib Sand and Stone gave us the other stuff like the sand and the stone. So this morning the truck from and Ready Mix as well, because they will be the one coming to do the bring the concrete, you know, in the Ready Mix truck, and we will be pouring and have this entire piece of road resurfaced this morning.
The Honorable Justina Charles dirtied her hands to beautify her community, Grand Bay. The projects were organized by the Grand Bay Improvement Committee.
Community Day of Service is cleanup and beautification. So basically that's what we'll be concentrating on now, because even outside of those times, because for example in Grand Cool, in Tet Mon, in Montine, there's an area where they are doing a walkway, but they will not be working on it today because today is cleanup and beautification. But every weekend they meet and they do some concrete work. So if there are areas where we think we need to do some patching, we would do that outside of today, but not today.
Altogether, villagers contributed to the development of their communities island-wide. The general membership of the Dominica Public Service Union, DPSU, gave the government a deadline of December 14, 2012 to come to a mutual agreement in wage salary negotiations on November 21st. Mr. Thomas Later, General Secretary for the DPSU, says they have gone without any increase in allowances for 13 to 15 years.
People also have to understand that public officers have commitment, they have bills to pay, and they have a number of things to do. And while we recognize that the government or the country was not or is not in a position to pay the 7% salary increase which we initially requested, we have moved way beyond that figure. And when government proposed a 1% salary increase to public officers, we indicated to the government that you cannot pay a 1% salary increase without there being some trade-offs. In other words, you would have to look at some other benefits to public officers.
In response to their plea, the Minister of National Security, Honorable Charles Savret, said, as much as they would like to increase public officers' salaries, the economy does not make it possible. However, Mr. Later stated public officers are also citizens of this country, and as such, they should be treated fairly and equally. On Friday, November 23rd, the Ministry of Social Services, Community Development and Gender Affairs launched 16 days of activism to end gender violence. This was held under the theme, From Peace in Home to Peace in the World, Let's Challenge Discrimination and End Violence. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Social Services, Community Development and Gender Affairs, Mrs. Esther Thomas, said, more and more emphasis is placed on us when it relates to coming together to create peace and unity and to stop discrimination and violence.
We seek to present you this morning with all the stakeholders who are going to champion the 16th Day of Activism. We have with us Ms. Brown from the Bureau of Gender Affairs and her staff, Ms. Durand. We have Mrs. Murphy from the Dominica Association of Persons with Disability, and for us it's very important for us to have them, mindful that we are seeking an inclusion of all persons with disability in the development process.
Other partners included the Dominica National Council of Women and the Dominica Association of Persons with Disabilities. Carried out activities included Orange Day, World AIDS Day, International Day for Persons with Disabilities, and Human Rights Day. Tragedy struck off the coast of Meru on Saturday, December 1st, when a visiting American student of the University of Virginia, UVA, in the United States died. 22-year-old Casey Shulman died after she was hit by a boat's propeller at about 2:30 p.m. Ms. Shulman was among a group of 54 students who arrived on the island on a cruise ship which offers a semester of studying at sea. From snorkeling in Soufriere, the students along with Ms. Shulman won a sailboat named Passion, owned by Anchorage Dive, captained by Andrew Armour, which proceeded to Meru Beach. Some students stayed on board, while some went swimming and others went ashore to enjoy the beach. After picking up some food supplies, the boat was moving backwards when its propeller made contact with Ms. Shulman, who was in the water. She sustained injuries all over her body and was transported to the Princess Margaret Hospital, where she was pronounced dead by a medical practitioner. One of the great black leaders who fought for the advancement of black people, Minister Louis Farrakhan, gave an inspirational lecture to the students of the Dominica State College on December 3rd. Some of his words to the students were to offer peace to one another as we enter the future in this new world. He said, when he becomes an aged person, he would like to look back to see a world where young people will strive to make it a better place to live.
Education is not a privilege. Education is a human right. I'm going to say that again, because some of us think like elitists that we deserve a college education so we can say to those who are not trained in college, I'm better than you because I graduated from the state college. Wrong. Education belongs to every human being on our planet. Why? Because knowledge is the thing that separates man from beast.
He advised the students that they should never leave the college with the thought that the education they receive makes them better than the person who was not afforded one. Kelvin Henderson of Bagatelle became happier and a richer man after winning $230,000 from the Dominica Lotteries Commission on Tuesday, December 4th. The 37-year-old employee of the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority, DASPA, has been actively playing the Super 6, hoping one day to become a winner. He achieved his dream through perseverance and a lucky quick pick number.
It's a while since I've been playing the lottery, and I always thought that one day I would finally win, but I didn't really realize it would actually come true. So now that it has actually come true, I'm very, very, very happy. And I would like to also encourage other people to play the lotto too, because it can actually happen to you also.
He added that the money will certainly be put to good use and also urged lotto players to continue playing the games at the Dominican Lotteries Commission. 2 persons who were denied bail on charges of theft and handling stolen goods have finally been granted bail by a Roseau magistrate on Thursday, December 6. Michael Bunch, who was arrested and charged for the alleged theft of over $36,000 from Autotrade, is now on bail in the sum of $50,000, which his aunt Corinne Fairblin Esprit standing as surety. The trial date is set for May 17, 2013. Also granted bail after 2 weeks in custody was Nola James Peter of Roseau. She was charged with handling stolen goods in excess of $48,000, and Roseau MP Norris Prevost stood as surety with bail set at $65,000. Her trial date is set for June 3rd. 7 kilograms of cocaine were confiscated in Massac on Sunday, December 6. This was as a result of the drug squad and task force conducting an operation in the community, during which a vehicle registration number PR466 attempted to pose danger to one of their vehicles. 2 tires of the other vehicle were deflated by gunshots, causing it to stop. The driver, Najaki Thomas, who was charged with possession of cocaine and possession to supply 7 kilograms of cocaine, was the only male occupant of the vehicle. On December 10th, police charged 3 Dominicans and 1 Colombian in connection with a major drug bust which took place off the coast of Dominica, where 70 kilograms of cocaine was seized. Charged with importation of cocaine, possession of cocaine, and possession with intent to supply cocaine is Johnny Joseph of Lahagon, Portsmouth, Kelvin Collins Paul of Granville, Portsmouth, Benedict Augustine of Vacas, and Camilo Adrian Pinzon Gomez of Colombia. Police in Dominica commenced conducting investigations into the sudden death of 68-year-old U.S. national Jim Caves of California, who arrived on the island on the cruise liner Vision of the Seas on Wednesday, December 19th. Mr. Caves, along with his wife, daughter, son-in-law, and a few other passengers, went on an Anchorage dive boat to Champaign to snorkel, and while in the water complained of feeling unwell. He was assisted by members of Anchorage dive crew and his family, and was taken to the Princess Margaret Hospital, where he was pronounced dead by a medical practitioner. Carlson Corbett of Checkall died when he lost control of his motorcycle on Friday, December 21st, just about 9 p.m. under the Canefield Cliff. Mr. Corbett was flung over the retaining wall along a section of the Canefield Highway and into the water below. He was then transported to the Accident and Emergency Unit of the Princess Margaret Hospital, PMH, where he was pronounced dead by a medical practitioner. Cabinet Secretary Mr. Steve Farrell was stabbed on Friday, December 21st and was admitted to the Princess Margaret Hospital, PMH. Mr. Farrell was attacked while walking in the vicinity of HHV Research and Company Limited by an unknown assailant. Police officers are calling on the public to provide any information that will lead to the capture of Mr. Farrell's attacker. The police launched an investigation into the shooting incident which occurred at about 4:35 a.m. on December 25, 2012 in the vicinity of the Covert Canefield, which left Albert Stevens and Arthur Bozell of Goodwill and Carlos Nicholas of Granby nursing gunshot wounds. Mr. Stevens sustained wounds to his bottom and stomach, while Mr. Bozell sustained wounds to his bottom and groin. Mr. Nicholas sustained a wound to his lower back. An angry patron who ran for her life when the shooting started stated, "If there was police presence at the cove, this incident could have been easily avoided." Julian Thomas, bed minister of Zikak, Portsmouth, was admitted to the Princess Margaret Hospital to nurse a gunshot wound he sustained to the left side of his face. It was reported that Mr. Julian was shot while on Rodney Street in Portsmouth at about 7:45 p.m. on December 25, 2012. The matter is still under investigations. This brings the conclusion to SAT Telecom's 2012 year in review. On behalf of the management and staff of SAT Telecoms, we would like to wish the government and people of Dominica a happy and prosperous new year.
And remember, SAT Telecoms is the people's choice and SATNet a better choice.